Now, 1 second. He gives it the thumb. Okay. Now you go ahead and hit the gavel.
Oh,
there.
I'm scared.
Come on. All right. Call the meeting to order.
I'm Elliot, and I'm going to lead the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right. Here we go. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Thanks. All righty. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Nordby?
Here.
Councilmember Woods?
Here.
Councilmember McKenzie?
Here.
Councilmember Schweer? Here. Mayor Monge?
Here. Thank you so much. May I please have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I make a motion.
So moved. Councilmember Schweer? Second. Councilmember Nordby. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you very much.
All right, first up's consent agenda. Item A, approve November 18th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes. Item B, general claims of $263,886.15. Item C, resolution approving the reappointment of commissioners. Item D, approval of temporary liquor license and charitable gambling permit with the Church and School of St. Peter Annual Gala, February 7th of 2026. Item E, resolution to Stagger Arts and Culture Commission terms. And item F, approve the fiber maintenance locate service agreement between the City of North St. Paul and Zayo Group, LLC.
Thank you so much. Would anybody like to pull anything at this time? If not, a motion, please.
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Woods.
Second.
Second. Councilmember McKenzie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. We'll move on to meeting open to the public. John Schmal.
Just want to thank Councilmember Schweer for passing this out. It gives me a few seconds more and probably less. This is what I got as an email. That's the top sheet. That's what a Class Act electric utility does in appreciation for a customer. At 50 years, nothing from North St. Paul. Wouldn't it be nice that you took a kind of lead from Excel and appreciate there's got to be other people in this city that have been on the rolls of the electric utility for at least 50 years. Just a suggestion. And there's always a question as to where the standing of the electric utilities rate is, and you have to get a comparison. And just lucky that my brother happens to be in St. Paul, so I got an Excel bill. And it's, you can take this and, you're going to be voting later this month on the rate that's going to be charged for the electric utility. And there's absolutely no input that you have for a citizen to make a comment. You don't have an open for anyone who would like to stand up and say, what does this increase or what is the cost for the electricity in North St. Paul does to me as a cost to keep living and keep warm. So Excel, when they want a rate increase, it's a year process with input from the public and having all other kinds of meetings before they do come out with a rate. So in this case, the figures are smoke and mirrors. You look at the rate per kilowatt hours, it's a half a cent less than Excel for this September bill. Wow, hey, half a cent less. The only thing is the cost, the increase for power, it is over twice the amount of Excel. So, trying to make a comparison is not a lot of fun. So I did my calculations, and if you're at all interested to see how we show up against Excel for St. Paul, and Excel already has their increase in and I have no idea if there's going to be any increase for North St. Paul. That'll be coming up later on. So just a little bit of information. And for plowing, this was strange this year. Wednesday, it could have been plowed. Maplewood, next to me on Raditz, they plowed, but North St. Paul didn't plow. There were 2 inches of snow. I measured it.
Time's up, John. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. All right, that's the only one I got up here. So next, we're going to go to a public hearing for the tax levy and budget for 2026. I need to tell the time for that, right? Need to log in at 6:40. So do we just, in general, do we have a sign up for that, or is it just if anybody has it come up?
Anybody has any comments?
Yeah, so I'll walk through a
Beforehand?
PowerPoint first, and then open it up to the public for any
Perfect.
comments and questions, yep. And so this is our 2026 Truth and Taxation hearing, and tonight kind of provides some information, and we'll cover why do property taxes change, property tax in Minnesota, the 26 Truth and Taxation notice, preliminary valuation changes, the 2026 levy, 2026 budget, potential property tax impacts, additional information, questions, and comments. So why do property taxes change? Because there's changes in market values, levies at various jurisdictions, debt issuance, special assessments, voter-approved referendums, changes in state and federal mandates, changes in aid and revenue from state and federal governments, and state legislative changes. What you will see in our budget is we are not recommending, nor are we seeking any approval on any rate changes for any of our utilities. That was a goal that we set early in the year, and we've stuck by it, so there will be no rate changes in any of our utility rates. In addition, we do not charge special assessments. That is why our levy is up a little bit higher, is to cover infrastructural needs in the future, and we'll kind of cover that here too. So property tax in Minnesota. One of the bigger factors that drives taxes is your assessed value on your property. So that is not done by the city, that is done by the county assessor's office. The city sets preliminary levies by September, and there's proposed property tax notice that are mailed by the county, which our residents should have received. I think the county started mailing those out about in the middle of November. And then we're required to hold a truth and taxation public hearing, and then property taxes are finalized for the following year. The city will be finalizing property taxes on December 16th. This is what the notice looks like. And you'll see that there's both a estimated market value and a taxable market value. And it'll also, the notice will include the jurisdictions that are covered. A total property tax bill is not just the city, it's the Ramsey County, it's the city, it's the school district in which you live in, it's Met Council's special taxing districts, and then it can be other taxing districts that are not isolated in those four. In other words, it can be a watershed, it can be an HRA, can be included into that. As you see here, that there's both the estimated market value and taxable market value. The actual taxable market value is what the property tax is actually calculated off of. And you'll see that from the estimated market value in a residential property to the taxable market value, there's an exclusion, a homestead market exclusion. And this is how that market exclusion is calculated. It's dictated by the Minnesota state statute, and you take the value, and it's 40% of the property value up to 95%. So the maximum exclusion can be $38,000, and it's then phased out all the way up to, if a property hits $517,200, there's no longer any exclusion. So for the example of the notice that I had previously shown, where in 2025, there was a $305,000 taxable market value to 313. There was an increase of 8,700, or a 2.85% increase. So it would have ended up resulting in about a 4% tax reduction in the bill. This is breaking down the truth in taxation notice, and again, I'm using the same proposed tax all the way throughout this presentation. You're seeing that even though the total property tax on this bill went up 6.62%, the Ramsey County portion of it increased 9.96%, the city increased 7.35%, the school district increased 2.77%. The school district, if a referendum would have been passed, still would not have included this on this notice because the notices were prepared before the referendum had gone up for voters. And then the metropolitan special taxing districts increased 2.96%, and the other special taxing districts increased 0.39%. The overall result impact for this resident is 6.62%. If we look at the distribution of the tax, of a tax dollar that's collected from property tax, just shy of 35% goes to Ramsey County, 32% goes to the city of North St. Paul, 30% goes to the school district, and all others amount to about 3%. Kind of looking at market values and change. Market values the last 2 years have really quieted down. On a median value home, the market value increased 2.4 for payable 2026. Last year was 1.5. Prior years, we saw some really bigger increases of 9.2 and then a 15.5, and there were even some bigger ones in prior years to that right after COVID. The preliminary market value increases only 3.9% for payable 2026, and you can see it's a 0.6 in 25, 7.7 in payable 24, and 17.7 in payable 23. Again, things have drastically flattened out as far as values increasing. Doesn't mean that it's for every home. Every home is valued a little bit differently. And that's, again, is the assessor's office, Ramsey County Assessor's Office. But you can have homes that will see significant increases while others are staying relatively flat. All of that will have a significant impact on the overall property tax liability that a resident will see. So this is kind of just a chart of kind of since 2017 of how that median value has changed. And you can see again, once we hit into 22 to 23, there's significant increase from 22 to 23, 23 to 24, and then you see the last 2 years have really flattened out. And again, our overall, for the city, the estimated market value, again, kind of mirroring the same thing. We saw some really big increases. We're really flattening out now in the past 2 years. Coming down to our levy, the city's total levy, which includes the general fund, debt, street maintenance, park, facilities, HRA, and EDA levies, is increasing 8%. That's a total dollar amount of $638,771 increase from 2025. If we look at a comparison of proposed levy increases for the cities and townships that are within Ramsey County, you can see that North St. Paul is towards the left-hand side or the lower side. The range goes from a 3.88% all the way up to 18.32%. This will break down dollar-wise of the components of our budget. And again, that city is made up of 5 different components: the general fund, and the general fund went up just shy of $95,000. The street maintenance component that we're levying for infrastructure went up $54,000. Parks, again, for park infrastructure, went up $76,000. For asset preservation, which is taking care of our facilities, which have not been done. We have a number of 20-plus year facilities, is going up $218,000. And then debt, we issued a debt earlier this year to cover the 2025 street and reconstruction project. The levy component of it increased $194,000. That makes up the full $638,000 levy increase. HRA and EDA are remaining the same, and they have remained the same for a number of years. This is kind of a breakdown of our debt, and you can see the real add to it is, again, that 2025A, which is the bonds that were issued for the 2025 street and utility reconstruction project. HRA and EDA levies are staying the same as 2025. And this will show you kind of the breakdown of our general fund budget. From a revenue side, you can see we have quite a significant dependency on ad valorem taxes, which are property taxes. So we're almost at 58% of reliance on property taxes. The other big component to that is intergovernmental, which makes up a little over 21%. The biggest component of that $2.1 million of intergovernmental is what is called local government aid, which makes up about $1.6 million of that component. From an expenditure standpoint, our personnel costs in our general fund make up 69%, and it's followed by contractual services, which equals 25%. The contractual services are for where you see for legal fees, for we have an engineer that we contract out instead of in-house service, and then also for code inspections, for building inspections. These are the numbers that support all of those that are in the graph. Kind of breaking it out by department, kind of a little different look on the expenditure side, and you're going to see the two biggest components to this are police and fire and code enforcement. Police makes up 47% of our general fund budget. Fire and code enforcement just shy of 16%. And if you combine those two together, you're seeing that 73% of our general fund budget, our levy budget, is made up of public safety components to it. Again, this slide will show you the numbers that back up that graph that you just saw. This is produced by Ramsey County, and it kind of shows what are some of the potential property tax impacts based upon the proposed taxes. And if we look for the city of North St. Paul, we have a total number of parcels of just shy of 3,800. There should be about 370 that'll see a decrease or a 0%. The majority of people will see a 0 to 10% increase in their property taxes, followed by about 1,000 that'll see 10 to 20%. And then there will be a number, 174, that'll see 20 to 30%. And then you'll see some that'll see more than 30% increase. Anybody who's seeing a 20 to 30% increase is having to have a significant increase in their market values to generate that type of increase.
Sir, you can't see the numbers on the screen?
There is a copy in the back if you want to. Yeah.
Must be all gone.
It's in that binder. That's the council packet in that binder.
It would have been nice if you would have printed them out for us to follow along with you.
There, you can see a little bit better.
column.
Percent of change, decrease, or 0% is the first column, second column 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, or 30% or more. Some different information for residents. Again, valuations, anything that has to do with property classifications, valuations really need to be directed to Ramsey County. And there's the number for Ramsey County Assessor's Office. And they can answer any questions that you may have regarding that. There's also some programs that can help reduce property taxes. There's a senior citizen tax, property tax deferral. Again, the numbers provided or the website that a resident who may qualify for that can get in contact with. And then also just kind of some reminders of the homestead deadlines and exclusion programs. Homestead applications, if your property is not homesteaded, are due by December 31st of 2025, and that would be then in effect for the payable of 2027. Minnesota property tax refund. Again, there's a website at the state of Minnesota. They need to be filed by August 15th. There's special homestead classification for blind or disabled persons, and there's also a market value exclusion for disabled veterans. So there's some information that is there if you go out to those various websites. With that, I'll take any questions or comments that City Council may have at this point, and then we'll open it up to the public for any comments or questions that they have.
I'd like to add just one thing. All of this information is in our council packet that's located on our website, northstpaul.org, under Government and Agendas and Minutes under our date. So you'll be able to pull that information too.
I know we discussed this in workshops, so we kind of got to where we were as far as that. Is there anybody else, after hearing it again, has any questions?
Not at this time.
Okay,
Thank you, Dan.
okay. Thanks, Dan.
Open it up.
Yep.
Republic.
Anybody like to come forward at this time? Come on, Sue.
Sue Springborn, 2573 13th Avenue, and I did not come here expecting to say a word, but here I am. And the only reason I am, I don't understand these numbers. It means very little to me, but I am very, very passionate about our parks. It is very important to any city to have parks. It's the health of the community, for the health of the community. And I have heard rumors that there is a chance that some of our park money might be taken away. Am I right or am I wrong? Is that? No?
No.
Oh, good. So, maybe I don't even have to say a thing. But I just want to impress upon you, it is very important to have parks. It's an equalizer. So maybe I'm preaching to the choir here, but I just felt compelled to say that because I had heard this rumor and it was making me nervous. And I cannot die until McKnight is done. I cannot. So it's important to do that. So, okay?
Thank you,
Anything
Sue.
else?
Thank you, Sue.
Appreciate it. Anybody else? Oh,
Hi, I'm Ingrid Kohler. I'm on the Parks Commission. I talked to Sue earlier today because Sue was on the commission before, and I knew she felt passionately about McKnight. And I think the only thing I would add to what you said is that McKnight is a multi-phase project that we're interested in doing, and it is an incredibly visible park. it is, a lot of people come from other communities to play on the ball fields, and we just wanted to make sure McKnight got some love. We have a lot of great parks in our city. We love them, but we haven't really done much for McKnight. And when I served alongside with Sue, I know that McKnight was kind of a thorn in her side, like, why aren't we working on this park? So that's why I called Sue today, just to say, I am like Sue, I'm not going to pretend to understand the budget, or really many of these numbers. So I'm speaking very generally on behalf of the Parks Commission, just saying, we feel strongly that the parks do help our community in a very fundamental way. And I think that, at one point, I was a young person looking for a home for my family. And when I look at a community and I have young children, I want to check out the parks. I want to check out the public spaces, and that's important. So I've used up plenty of time, so thank you. Sue, do you have anything to add?
No,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a quick, that we were discussing when it comes to parks, and of course, budgets come in with it, so that's where we're just trying to figure out, we know how much money, as tax dollars, and we're always trying to figure out what projects and how we can stretch as much as we can, because some of the things, when it came up, there was multi-million dollars to do some of the things, and the tax dollars isn't there. So we just have to understand and be able to look at it and see where we can do it, but McKnight Field's always been on the radar. Thank you. Anybody else? Come on up.
Hi there, Pete Drake, 2254 Ariel Street North, very western border of North St. Paul. Very aware that you do not set property, the valuations for property, that's done at the county level by the assessors. But just for some context to the struggle that I think people are going through, in 7 years since 2019, my property taxes have gone up, or my valuation has gone up 73%. This year, it went up 14.4%. Last year, 10.8%. So call it 14 and 11. So compared to the chart on the board that said they're basically flat, I'm sure when averaged across all the properties, I'm sure you're correct about that, but that's not true for all of us. 73%, I compare what I've been paying in taxes to North St. Paul, and since 2019, my taxes have gone up 89.4%. That's nearly double in 7 years. That's a lot. The real reason I'm here, I think the part that applies to North St. Paul in particular, is the tax valuation or the assessment increase percentage for my property doesn't match the percent increase in the North St. Paul taxes. Maybe there's a bigger formula for that, but instead of being assessed roughly 8%, I'm being assessed by North St. Paul 18.8% increase. My property went up, according to taxes payable, 13%. So that's a 5.8% difference. That's roughly 50% more in taxes, and I can't account for it on my tax statement. I know that I could probably call someone and talk type of thing, but I thought it would be important to appear here and just say that it's not transparent. I don't understand it. Produces a lot of consternation. And I've talked with others of my neighbors. They have the same issues. If it would make sense that our taxes would go up according to those percentages. So I was wondering, how does a person deal with that? The difference in the numbers.
It's a very good question. So property taxes is in some ways very simple and in some ways very complex. So I could sit down and show you how even though I'm not the one who calculated it, how each and every one of those was calculated. The percentages, I understand how you're looking at it. You're looking at it. If my market value went up this percentage, why didn't my property taxes go up the same percentage? It's not necessarily going to be linear in that sense of the way, but I could definitely sit down and show you how they're calculated, and we could prove out that component to it. But there's a lot of different factors that that are included into that. So you're seeing.
And to be clear, I'm not confusing all the different lines.
Yep,
I'm just looking at North St. Paul.
Yeah. But you're going to see that same type of relationship on the Ramsey County. If you take Ramsey County as an aggregate, it will not match up that same way.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because it's deeper into the calculation to it. Yeah, but I'm officed here. Any day that you would like to come in, we could definitely make an appointment and walk through it. I'd be more than glad to help you. FYI, back in the late 90s, I actually was in Ramsey County and did the property tax calculations, so I can walk you through it pretty quick.
Is there a reason that that's not available to an individual property owner to make sense of it for themselves?
To make sense of it, yeah, there's so many different components to it that to understand it, I don't know if it is. I know Ramsey County does a very nice job. They have a tax calculator that's available online. They have the current tax rates. They have all the prior tax rates. They have all the values. They have a lot of information that's out there, and I think it goes back to maybe even 10 years. So there's a lot of information. That's where I could sit down with you and kind of give you just the quick overview of how to calculate it, and you'd be able to do it in no time. But yeah, the percentages won't line up onto that. I think if everything had stayed flat with an 8% increase from the city, you probably would have seen somewhere about I'm going to say 5 to 6% increase. So then if you have a market value increasing 13%, you probably are going to see it jump up 18 to 19% on the North St. Paul line.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
I hear you.
Doesn't it make sense from the sales in the area? And we have to show up in tax court to fight that. That is extremely frustrating.
At this point, you have a tax court, but every year, the assessor's office has an open book, and that you can meet with an assessor and go through the valuations, and they should be able to supply to you comps of how they evaluated and how they came up with your thing. Yeah, at the end of the day, if they don't change it at that point in time, you end up having to go to a tax court, and usually you don't see too many residentials doing that, unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Bottom line is, this puts my wife and me in a situation of just saying we just can't afford to live here. We need to move further out. That's hard. Mm-hmm. I'd like to stay in North St. Paul.
How many years you been here?
I've lived here since 2004.
Okay.
So 23 years, 24 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Drake.
Come on up, sir.
My name is Michael Walt, 2661 Eldridge Avenue East, and I'm a 44-year resident, so I've been here a while. Although some people don't still consider me an outsider. I have two questions. When you say the mean value is $310,000 for the homes, I mean, where does that really sit? So if like somebody's at 450, are they like really at the high end, or are they just barely above the median? You know, what's kind of like the blocks that those appear in?
All of that information is supplied by the Assessor's Office of Ramsey County, so they're the ones who are setting the median, and you know the definition of the median.
So that's the median for North St. Paul
That's the
itself.
median for North St. Paul is 310.
But you don't know what the spread is in North St. Paul.
I don't off the top, no, I don't, no.
Okay. The second question relates to the budget, and it relates to, I know in the last year you were talking about offering some of the businesses like 20 grand a piece to spruce up their storefronts, which we probably needed. You know, it's pretty sad, some of the stores. One of the comments I was going to make a while back, but I didn't, is that some of the stone that they've put on the front of these buildings is just rotting away, and they're not even 20 years old. You know, yet you look at some of the buildings that have been there 50, 60, 70, 80 years, and that brick is still pretty good. So if you're going to give money away, make sure that they do it in non-porous materials so that it stays, rather than just, you know, just goes away in like 15, 20 years. In fact, there's a lot of stuff along South Avenue where the county, you know, put some of the retaining walls, and those are all broken down because they're porous. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to be clear on the 310, half are lower and half are more when it comes to the value, as far as where we're at, so we do have some that are quite a bit higher and some that are quite a bit lower. That's part of our lower and middle income, so thank you for coming up. Anybody else? We're open. Yes, sir.
John Schmall, 2750 Chisholm Avenue. I used to attend all the budget meetings. I would not miss A1. But in this last year, we had this instance of the park dedication fee that wasn't paid, and it had to come out of the skin of the city of North St. Paul when it should have been a developer because of a disagreement or whatever it was. And that was $80-some thousand. And Sue, you can thank me for finding that and bringing it to their attention. And so the park dedication fee got $80-some thousand because of me. Anyway, and then we had this fiasco of the consultant for the white elephant, $90-some thousand. And I go, my God, I went to budget meetings and they were down to a gnat's eyelash about what the money was going to be needed and the taxes and the rate and the whatever. And there was no problem. We found $80-some thousand to backfill the park dedication fee. We had $90-some thousand to go on a consultant, which was a waste of time. The outcome was the same. We can't do it. We don't have enough money for that white elephant. It just isn't enough money in the taxpayer's pocket to pay it. But I can't imagine it. Where did the money come from? Is that kind of money built into this budget? A slush fund of some kind of situation that there's a line item, a contingency fund? Yeah, I won't call it slush fund. I'll call it a contingency fund, because you came up with $170,000 in the last year out of God knows where. Anyway, and I will never again attend another budget meeting, because I really don't understand where you get this money when things say, oh, we need to do this. Son of a gun. Yeah, we got money. Anyway, I would suggest going to the open book. I've been to the open book. The assessors aren't, gremlins or whatever. They're nice guys, nice women. And I was able to convince them that the size of my deck was not the size that they had used for their calculations, and that the overhang over my front door is not a porch. It's an overhang. So they do take input and change. In both instances, my deck was smaller than they said it was, and my overhang is just the damn overhang of the roof. It's not a porch. There's nothing there that you could call a porch. But anyway, program just to attend it. It's going to be for next year, not this year, but go see them.
Was that last year, John,
What?
that you attended?
What, the
Open book?
The open book.
the open book? Yes, it was the year
Last.
previous.
Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Oh, all right. Welcome.
Evening, I'm Mark Zazadny. I live at 2641 17th Avenue. Only been a resident here for about a year and a half. And I'll be honest, I got some sticker shock when I saw the property tax increase. My city portion is going up 27% almost, so I'm in that, one of those farther to the right brackets. And my question is related to that breakdown. How is that breakdown determined? Is that the county determining, oh, these number of houses are going to see this increase, these will see a lesser increase, these will see, is that determined by the county, sir? I'm assuming
Yes, that was prepared by Ramsey County.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
I was curious about that. Thank you. I think that was the main question I had. But that does seem to, like, that puts an inordinate burden. I mean, almost at 30%. So the county, my county portion is going up almost 30%, 29.7%. My estimated market value went up less than 19%. My taxable market value went up 22%. So there's that disconnect.
Yeah.
And it is. It's like, I'm trying to rationalize this, seeing, am I going to see a commensurate increase in, services? And, it's kind of hard to imagine that. And then two, like, my income is not going up 26%. I wish it was. But it's just a lot to swallow. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate your answer. I may ask for one of those sessions where you can go
Sure,
bit
absolutely.
by bit, because it's confusing. And I'll be honest, like, the market value, I've been a homeowner for, I don't know, since I was in my early 20s. It seems totally disconnected to the true market value. And so it seems like there must be some kind of voodoo they're using on the back end. Like, are they determining the budget first and then back calculating the market value?
No, they're not supposed to, because usually, the values are produced as of January 2nd.
Okay.
So in 2025, January 2nd of 2025, those are used for payable 2026. So that's the values that are showing. The only adjustments that end up getting made are anything that would come from an open book meeting, because there's still valuation changes that they can make, or if there was a court petition and a value got changed, those are the only changes that would end up being made and then reflected at the time that they do the property tax notice.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks. I have a question, now that we brought that up too, as far as after a year and a half, you said you've been there? I had a friend too that up in Hugo where at 7,000 and the next year it jumped up. Is there something where when you're new, they recalculate any different as far as if a property's been sold? Is there, if you've been there so many years, is there a different increment than, do they do like an adjustment after a property sold as far as value? Or because I know when I bought my house in 2012, the next year afterwards, it bumped up more than I thought, but after that, it leveled out.
I can't answer that 100% from the assessor's standpoint. It does seem to be some sort of correlation between when a property goes on sale, that usually within a year or two that there's a new evaluation that's done on that part to it. I do know that, when we saw the big spikes following COVID, that you would see regions or areas seeing significant increases. I think by statute, Ramsey County has to do things on a quartile basis. In other words, they have to do all properties once every 4 years. They have to, do the evaluation, and again, they should be generating it by market comparables, which is sales. And so sales, if we all know, just right after, in the recent years, people were buying houses at 10, 20, 30% over ask. So then those comps are then all of a sudden going to hit everybody into a whole entire area, because they use CAM systems and they'll just generate that, and then boom, everybody's seeing that big significant increase. But yes, I believe a sale does probably trigger something. within a year or two that,
Bad luck of the draw, if it's the 4 years and it's been
and the-
3 consecutive big years, then you're nailed. But then if you didn't get that, then it's starting to level out again, so.
and you're seeing by the comments, some of these value, these changes. So, we have you say who, we have an employee here in the city who lives within the city. They actually saw a property tax decrease because their value actually decreased. So they're on that whole opposite side of the spectrum.
It's the luck of the
It's
revaluation.
how they come up with, I mean, those are really good questions that need to be asked, but the assessor's the one who has to answer those pieces to
We
it.
appreciate tapping your former
yeah.
knowledge of Ramsey County. I know it can put you on a spot, but thank you for sharing that with us and being
We're
able to do
absolutely
that.
lucky having you
Yeah.
in our midst here.
Yeah.
And for the 2 residents that had the percentage, I highly recommend you sit down with Dan if you can find the time. We are lucky to have him here, and he's a great resource. None of us, like the taxes going up, but he can at least help you understand why and where the numbers came from.
Well, this year, my tax only went up 2%, but mine gone up for the last 4 years. But this year, I've leveled out down to 2%. So it will probably level off here pretty soon.
Yeah, we're all in the thick of it together. There's no tax exempt for us sitting up here. So I had the 2 years ago was my big one too. So, well, thanks everybody. If there's anybody else, if not, we appreciate you coming out tonight for that. So thank you so much. There's no business actions.
I'll
Would
close
you-
that portion.
Yep. Oh, that's right. I gotta do the time. Sorry. 7:21, close the public meeting. Thank you for the reminder. Reports.
All right, there's no city business action items this evening, so we'll move on to reports for the city manager and departments. From our staff meeting today, electric department been doing some cleanup after every snowfall. They kind of clear around the more major equipment around town. They did have a few trees down that caused some issues, broke a pole and brought some wires down. They're getting holiday lights up out there. I think they were supposed to finish that up today and have the lights burning, so bring some Christmas cheer downtown. They did have one position that was open. They did go through the hiring process, and they did hire a young man for an apprentice that should be starting here in a couple weeks, so on December 15th. They're also at the end of the year working on their inventory for the auditors and doing some updates from the construction that happened this summer with their mapping. Community development has been busy. We're working on the trash RFP, or the solid waste, so that went back to the company that takes care of that at no charge through Ramsey County. That's back in their hands for the final go over, and then we'll bring that to you guys at the next council meeting. And also, they're working on a couple of ordinances. One to do with the number of pets homes can have, and also some trailer ordinances updates that we're going to have coming forward. Communications they're working with, WSV's got some letters put together for us that they're going to be going out about the service line and doing the inspections of what we have out there. They have one more event for the Holly Jolly Night, which is this coming Friday at Casey Lake Park. Finance, of course, been working on truth and taxation, prepping all the meetings, and then they'll be working on clearing or wrapping up the end of the year for preparations for the budget, and then working with getting the auditors ready to go. Police had a really good outcome with their Shop with a Cop this year. They've raised, I believe, over $10,000, so it'll be a nice event. They were able to spread that out to more families for that event, and so that's great for them. Great program. Public Works, of course, they've been working on the first snowfall that came out this year. Went pretty good. No damage to vehicles or anything like that. So keeping up with the student-built house. So the basement's been poured. That will be a twin home. It was backfilled today after waterproofing the basement walls and putting the insulation around it. Had an unfortunate event of somebody starting the porta potty on fire there, so getting the new one in for them. And they're working on getting out the ice rinks and flooding them already. So we'll have 3 of them out, 3 different parks, Northwood, Colby, and Casey Lake. And we're still going to have the Polar Park and the update on the playground equipment out there. That's supposed to still happen yet this year. So they got pushed off a few times. Fire department's been working through their agility testing, which they have in November, and they're finishing up now. And they got 4 new recruits that are still going through the education process. And also, Ken and I met with MnDOT when they first put up the Margaret Street Bridge. When they redid Highway 36, we had asked to put, some City of North St. Paul on it, and that was not in their policy at the time, but since then they've changed that, so we're putting together some pictures for you guys to look at on how we want to do it, maybe putting the emblem up there and City of North St. Paul on it, so we'll have that coming forward at a later date, but that's it.
Thanks. I went by Eden Prairie, Chaska, I call you every time and go, how come they get a sign?
Wiper Lake,
How
yep.
come they get a sign and we don't? So thank you for following up on that. Appreciate it. All right, reports from council commissions.
I was able to attend the opening of the new bakery in North St. Paul again, and the mayor was also there with me. And we had able to taste some of their wares and goods, and very good. It's a good place to go and get some good treats again.
We're built for testing
I
bakeries.
think so, yeah.
They got happy when they saw us walk in.
Oh, yeah.
It's right on the south side of 7th. What would be another?
Right
good one?
next to Sandy's Sewing
Thank you.
Den.
He knows it.
Right next to Sandy's Sewing Den, there's a driveway in between the bakery and Sandy's.
Between Charles and Margaret.
Yep.
Used to be the old Max, wasn't it at one time? Was that the
No,
Max spot?
no, that was the old Cortland Liquor. No,
okay.
not Cortland,
Sorry.
North, was it?
Yeah.
Owned by Franny Beast, yeah. That was a long time ago for me.
It was good. It was very good, very
Very
good.
good treat.
Family, they live in West St. Paul. They started their business here. They're really excited to be in North St. Paul. Nice family. Oh, grandma was there, mom, dad, kids, everybody was there. So it was a great one. Would you like to do for commissions and any kind of updates or anything?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Parks and Rec met, 2 weeks ago, and the meeting was pretty passionate regarding the workshop and the budget, and Ken was there. We went over just what everything looked like. We're confident that I know Dan presented, and I know that sometimes you can't shoot the messenger, but I would say that we're confident and we're in the right direction, that parks will continue to be where we're at. We need to find the proper funding and plan what is for our future. It was a shock when we heard that we're not going to have any money, or we're going to have money taken away. So Sue, thank you for coming up tonight. But just keep in mind, we're very passionate, Parks is very passionate about where they are and building their budget and how much it's taken them to get to where they are today. So
Sounds good. Anything else? Okay.
you're good.
All right, we're good.
We don't have another meeting until January.
Oh, that's right, Parks. Yes.
Arts and Culture Commission, we've,
I was.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Sorry.
the EDA, but
Yeah, go ahead.
Arts and Culture Commission, we've got our next meeting tomorrow night. We also have an interview for a new commissioner as well, and have been working on some process planning. Just trying to figure out like what the process is for reviewing and approving some of the projects that we want to do. So making sure that it's formalized. So.
Great. Appreciate it.
The Planning Commission meets this coming Thursday in this chamber. And one of the things on the agenda is there's going to be recognition for outgoing Commissioner Jim Rothy. So, wonderful man and some great service. So if you want to come wish him well, I encourage you to do so.
also, we have our EDA next Tuesday, 4 o'clock here in the chambers.
Great. Anybody have any general business?
Yes, I do want to bring it to the table that we are up for evaluation for our city manager. So I would like to request a performance evaluation for January. We've done it annually, so I'd like to request that. And then I'd like to request in the beginning of the year to reevaluate what's going on with the community center and what are we doing, what are the plans. So
All right,
that's it.
thank you. Anybody else?
I would just say this coming Friday night is Holly Jolly Night out at Casey Lake Park. So make sure you make your way out there. There will be a bonfire, a movie, popcorn, all kinds of stuff going on. Just good way to kick off the holiday season. And then Saturday is the holiday hop downtown. So get down and support small businesses in North St. Paul.
As long as I don't have to hop, I'm in.
Yep.
Good.
No hopping.
No
Just
hopping, okay.
Holiday walk.
There we go. I'm in then. Anything, sir?
Again, I would just like to say how proud I am of one of our residents, Rachel Thompson, for doing the North St. Paul Christmas Tree Project, and I encourage everyone to check it out. It's just an awesome project.
Can you give more information about that, just for our residents?
Yep. So what she does is she finds local families that are in need, interviews them personally, and puts tags on the Christmas tree for their wants and needs outside of her house. Then people can come by, pull a tag off the Christmas tree, and then we give them to her, and then she presents them all to local families in need. And they're all ones that she's personally invested in and interviewed, so it's local community helping local community.
Fantastic. Thank you for the explanation.
That's very nice. Appreciate that. Two things for us. So one is that our student build home, thank you for the update on that. But we used two pieces of property the last 2 years that we already owned. So we didn't have to purchase any properties. But now for the next round, we need a property. So if anybody knows of anybody who's, if there's a spot where a house maybe needs to be removed, or if there's a lot where somebody wants to split, if there's anything that anybody can think of for our next student build home, I would like to just get that out there so we can start working. There was one that was going to go into for an auction, but at the very end, it didn't go, so we're still on the hunt. So if anybody knows that, that'd be great. And just another season has started. We have snow removal, we have different things happening, and just want to talk to, just mention to, people as far as the temperament, and, we've had some really harsh voicemails lately for as the council, as Public Works, as all of us. So there's quite a bit of profanity in some of them, and there's just things that don't go over well as far as how we treat people. So just to have that out there for people, if they're talking to people, would be great just to, we'll listen, we're here, but we don't need to be treated like that. So just the normal etiquette we used to have before we lost it about 4 or 5 years ago. So we could try to get back to that as a city. We're all up here, doing not volunteer, but a stipend, but, we work hard, and so does the employees, and if we can just have a civil tongue, it would really be nice. Just in general, as the season change, people aren't happy with different things. It's just, as things happen, we get, people get upset by things. Sometimes it's grass in the summer, it's not just that. It's just one more reminder of that, we're residents together, and some of them were really awful as far as how we're treated on their voicemail. So I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but just to know that it's difficult for us as a group to, have to go through some of those. So I appreciate that. Is there anything else?
No.
Lawyer, you didn't do a thing today.
And thank God for that.
All righty, can I call for adjournment?
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Schweer.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Nordby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. December 16th is our next meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.